Hey, what's up everybody? Today we're going to be covering the Hansen Design Solo, or Hansen Metals Solo. This is filmed back-to-back with the embargo video, so if you haven't seen that, check it out. These here are pretty dang interesting. I was pretty happy to pick one of these up at Blade Show, and this is definitely one that I'm going to be keeping. Very happy with this. Some things to note are, let's get this weight. In ounces. This doesn't have a pin system like the embargo or anything like that. You're basically just stuck with the spacers it comes with. Weighs in at 4.534 ounces, which I think is a pretty decent weight. I wish this was a little more ass heavy, like a brass or stainless steel spacer. The spacers aren't really huge on this, and it's a little more neutral than I'd like it to be. For construction, he uses 6x32s for the pivots, and then these are 440 thread. These are also a barrel like the embargo, but there is a pin inside the spacer that's hidden to hold the spacer from wobbling. Pivots are 3/16, and then the bushings are 250, and the washers are a custom dimension. They're pretty dang thick. Zen pins on this are made out of a 5/32 pin, which is basically just a solid rep Zen pin, and that doesn't have that little tiny taper to it. From factory, I'm not sure the steel he uses, but this has 4140 steel pins in it. I've been messing around with the Zen pins. The most notable thing about this is when you buy them, they tend to be a little squishy. The handles tend to, squeeze in a little bit. You can feel it. It's a little spongy. With the new Zen pins that I put in there, it's a little less worse, but honestly, what you have to do is you just have to flip it a ton, and then the pins become hardened just from being banged on over and over again. The sound on these aren't exactly crazy either. They're not bad, but they're a little clinky. So you don't really get much noise, even on close. You can feel it wanting to be bouncy, but I think maybe it's just the some of the geometry of it. The handles on these are pretty dang rectangular or thin. Let's get the calipers out for this. We got this zeroed. We are reading in at a height of 517. Let me try and get that without the glare. And then a width of, let's see here, 560. That's pretty comparable to a Monarch. Just throw this in here. Height of 1/2 inch or 496, and then a width of 566. To be honest with you, it feels kind of thin, but I keep saying honestly a ton, but I love how different this thing is from the rest of my collection. It stands out. I will say though, on day one, after picking this up, just flipping it on the carpet at Blade Show, I did roll the tip, which was kind of interesting. When I guess I would consider it tipped, but the tip kind of curled back, like up and back, which was really interesting for this blade shape. I guess, where else would the material go? The edge does run all the way from this tip down to the sharpening choil. I will also note that this does have a Zer-blasted blade, and you can see that mine is also starting to rust a little bit. I do need to re-blast this. But it was, just covered in gunk for a while, so nothing to be, unexpected. When it comes to disassembly on these, it's pretty dang easy. I don't feel like taking this one apart. Normally I would, but it's kind of perfect as it is right now, and I don't want to spin the Zen pin and I have to re-work harden it. But it's just these two screws it lifts up, and then you have your 5/32 pin in the spacer there, and then one here. You separate the slabs, and then it's just like any other bali. I guess some things to note are the nipple on this is pretty sunk in. It's not really pinchy at all. I've yet to be pinched by this at all. The edge on it didn't really hold up a ton. It is kind of dull right now, and I've only had this for a couple of weeks. That being said, I have used it a good bit at my work, and it was to be expected that it was going to get dull. But yeah, one thing I would say, if you're looking to buy one of these, I guess secondhand, they aren't horribly priced. They're sitting at like $1,200, $1,100, and I think I paid $10.50 at Blade Show, where they sell for this was Blade Show prices, so without like tax and shipping, but it was $1,000 for the normal tie spacer, or $10.50 for the Zerk spacers. This does have the Zerk spacers in it. That's why they're so black. I didn't really care because you only had 2 of them left, and they were both Zerk spacers, so picked it up anyway. But yeah, I guess I wish there were heavier spacers for it. That's the only thing I have wrong with this, is I wish it was a little more ass heavy. That being said, this still isn't bad at all right now, and I'm pretty happy with my purchase. I don't know, sloppy. It's really hard to record with so little distance between the camera and the table. If you have any questions, feel free to comment them. I'll try and answer them. And, oh, one thing to note, length, before I completely forget. The length on this is not as long as the Embargo. It's basically the same length as the Monarch, or Orca. I like comparing it to those two because they've been around for a while. Let's see, get it lined up with the Monarch. It's basically the same length as the Monarch there. Comparing the handles, you know, bottom to bottom, pretty similar. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to comment them. I'll try and answer them. For the pins, if you're trying to replace them, I bought them off McMaster Car, just 5/32 hardened pins. There's nothing too special about them. I couldn't find them on UKM. I had to go to McMaster, and you know, I prefer doing UKM all the way. But yeah, that's my video on the Solo and my thoughts. You know, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe, and then the best way to reach me is my Instagram. It's where I'm the most active, at @cutmyfinger. I believe it's cut.my.finger. It's basically this YouTube channel, but I'm way more active on there, and I'm posting like my mod work and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.